Hello, guys. Welcome back to Sarcastic Remarks. Alongside my brother James to my right, my name is Ryan Chambers. We are the official Dallas Stars podcast of THPN. Go and use that promo code THPN the next time you go and use DraftKings Sportsbook and Raycon. We thank them both for being our sponsors of our show. The Dallas Stars start off pretty hot with a 3-0 lead, but they eventually fall to the Colorado Avalanche by a final score of 6-3 tonight. And I really honestly don't know what to think tonight, James. So what are some of your initial thoughts coming out of tonight's game? Because
Yeah.
I'm kind of just like, okay.
I mean, we came out in that first period. We looked great. I mean, we were winning puck battles. We were forcing turnovers. Won like 60% of the faceoffs, and then I guess the second period we decided a 3-goal lead was enough, and it felt like we kind of let up a lot. And I mean, you think about there was a 5-on-3 again, and we didn't score on that for second consecutive time. My chair just failed on me, so that's what happened.
I'm trying not to laugh at you. I'm sorry.
It literally broke. Like the back fell out. Anyway, we don't score on the 5-on-3 again. It was 3-0 at the time, whatever. But but it just shows that they were we were not pushing anymore. I mean, it wasn't just that we didn't score on the 5-on-3. We had maybe one shot on it. I mean, it didn't look good, and then the rest of the penalties killed off. And then it felt like we never were playing again after the first period. I mean, the first period was great. Like, we complain about the starts all year. Have a great start, probably best start we've had, and then they stopped playing.
So after the game, I'm so conflicted as to how I'm supposed to be. I'm in utter shock because we haven't seen this team do this like this in many years now. It felt like this is like the first time we've really seen a giant meltdown like this. But and you hit the hammer on the nail right there, James. It's that 5-on-3 power play that was the turning point in the game for me tonight. Was the fact they were up 3-0, had 56 seconds of a 5-on-3, did nothing with it. So now that doesn't excuse them from the rest of the game and how they played the rest of the game, but you can have two schools of thoughts for it right now. You can think, okay, it's early in the season, it's not that big a deal, it's one game, or you can be of the other mindset and be like, I cannot believe that we blew a 3-goal lead and just utterly, completely, 100% hacked off in every little thing that we've done at all. So I don't know what you think, James, but I'm leaning more towards the hacked off, pissed off side.
Yeah. I'm definitely extremely annoyed, but what am I supposed to do about it? The team just stopped playing, and there was no one there to help out. Oh, hi, Chris. Welcome to the show. Oh, and his mic's not working either. That's classic.
Yeah, you're late, Chris. We just figured you weren't showing up, so we just went on with the show. But anyways, what is your mic working now? Say something.
I don't think he can even hear us now.
Anyway. I don't even think he can hear us. Well, that's super awkward. Okay. Anyways, so
I wasn't invited.
You're always invited, Chris.
We just assumed that you were going to be here, and then you weren't. We were like, oh, okay, and we went on with our lives.
That is rude. That is rude.
So, anyways, Chris, how are you feeling about tonight's game?
I'm feeling almost as bad as if I got left out of the podcast by my other two brothers. I mean, we totally flip-flopped the game on how we played the entire season. I mean, we had a really good first period and a really terrible third period, which is the complete opposite. And we also did exactly what we did in the Arizona game, except we didn't come back this time. I mean, the Arizona game, we were up, I think, 2-0. You have the 5-on-3 to go slam the door. Didn't take care of it. Exact same thing happened here against a better team. 5-on-3 for the full minute. Don't score a goal. keep them in it, give them all the momentum back, and look at that. Colorado Avalanche are a good hockey team. They'll find their way back into the hockey game. So yeah, they didn't learn their lesson, and it bit them in the butt when they played a good team.
I'm just really hacked off tonight just because of a couple of years ago I probably would be ballistic right now and screaming and yelling and stuff like that, but I'm just utterly shocked at the lack of hustle, at the lack of shots, the lack of everything in the third period. It was like a tale of two different teams, and it didn't make any sense. Like this team had 3 days off, 3 days off to relax. And what I saw in the third is what I expected to see in the first. And we didn't see that at all. They got off to a great start. Tyler Seguin with 2 goals. Pavelski gets a goal. And the thing is, that it sucks about it is that Seguin has a great game, and we're not even thinking about that or talking about it because of the lack of defensive structure that the Stars had there in the third period. They absolutely sucked it up in the third period. They couldn't win a puck battle. And it was literally like the two teams flip-flopped in the first and third. The Stars were great at forcing turnovers in the first period. They were getting after the Avalanche. They were forcing them in their own zone. They were not playing in their own zone. Otter didn't have to do anything in the first period. And in the third period, it's literally like it completely flip-flopped. So, I mean, there's not much else to say about this game other than that, and that hopefully that this is just a fluke and a one-off.
Yeah, and I keep going back to the missed opportunities. I mean, the 5-on-3 comes at a perfect time. They score there, the game's over. The Avs don't come back if you score on the 5-on-3, and you should. And once again, I'll kind of lead this into the power play talk. It's a 5-on-3 where we throw out kind of a mixed unit between the first and second units, and it doesn't work again.
So much, man. It doesn't just not work. Both times it looked bad. I mean, they got one shot on that 5-on-3, a single shot. I mean, just throw out the second unit. We've seen them score before. We know they can score. I'd much rather have the fast passing with people who you know where they are and how they're going to play than just this ragtag team. It feels like that if they feel lost, honestly. It really they feel lost.
Yeah, there definitely hasn't been enough practice with that combination unit at 5-on-3 for them to know exactly what's going on. And the first unit looked really good on the power play goal they scored. Why don't you just go with what's working? We looked decent on 5-on-3s last year with our first unit. At the very least, I want our best guys on the ice, and that's not who's on the ice on the 5-on-3 unit that they threw out there. So I dislike it greatly. I think it's the wrong decision. It's happened 2 games in a row now, so hopefully there's a change with it.
And the thing is I feel like I can't be mad because the power play was decent tonight. The goal they scored was pretty good. And, the power plays before the 5-on-3 were fine.
If you don't score on a minute-long 5-on-3, you're allowed to be mad, especially at the time of the game that it was in.
It's just like, what kind of crap did we see from them after? It was literally like the 5-on-3 was the defining line between the game. Before the 5-on-3, pretty good. After the 5-on-3, worst I think I've seen the Stars play this season.
Well, it just looked like they didn't play at all. It looked like, oh, we have a 3-goal lead. Okay, we're done.
Yep.
And that's what it looked like for the entire rest of the game, even when the Avs started scoring too. There was not a response at all.
And what especially shocks me about it is it looks really similar to the last game that we played, that we got lucky and actually came back and won. You should have learned your lesson there. I mean, that's a time for you to learn that lesson and not pay for it. And they didn't. Instead, they have to learn their lesson and pay for it now, which is really unfortunate. I mean, hopefully at this point, the team has learned you score goals and you keep scoring until the game is over. We knew that last year. That's why our goal differential was ridiculously high. So you got to get back to that.
The other thing that was really confusing about this game is the goal differential between the periods. I mean, the Stars have been pretty good in the second period, and they were not good in the second period. And they have this year been really bad in the first period, but they had a +3 goal differential in the first period. So it's hard to think. It's hard to watch this game and to try and analyze it because this is not what we've seen all season. and it's a tale of two cities. I mean, it's so hard to look at this and be like, okay, well, what do we need to fix? And the only thing that comes to my mind about this game is that this was a complete fluke. But like you said, Chris, it's very there were some very odd similarities between this game and the Arizona game. So I mean, maybe we need to go back to both of those games, figure out what the heck is going on and why these shots are going in or whatever, and make sure that it doesn't happen.
Yeah. I think fluke's the wrong word. It's not exactly fluke. It's more, it's between the ears is the problem. So it's not the skill on the ice. Obviously, we're a good enough team to play with the Avs and beat the Avs like we were in the first half of the game. We were dominating.
Like we were destroying them. It wasn't even close. The Avs were a step slow. We were all over them. We were forcing turnovers in their own zone. We made it look like child's play, like an NHL team versus an ECHL team. And then it completely flips on its head in the third period. It doesn't make any sense.
And that's because the momentum swing, I think. And you got to have the mentality to fight back from bad momentum swings like that. So, yeah, it's not really fluke. It's more you got to fix your brain.
Yeah, and honestly, it's not like the goals against that were really even the problem. It's just that they stopped playing. I mean,
the whole team stopped playing.
And that's the other thing. It's like normally you can pick out like a couple players who might have had a bad game or whatever. It was the whole team. I mean, like everybody just stopped playing. That's why I'm calling it a fluke game, because I don't think it's gonna happen again. We had something similar like this last year where the score looked really, really bad and it really wasn't that bad, because 6-3 does not look like that bad. But here's the thing that really hacked me off is once the Stars got down 4-3, it didn't even take 15 seconds for them to be down 2 goals.
Yep.
So like you said, there was no sense of urgency after we lost, after we lost the even the tie. It was no longer tied. There was no pushback. There was no good shift. And that's something that Razor kept saying. It was just like, okay, we need a good shift here to kind of push the momentum back. And it never happened.
Yeah. And that's something any of the lines can do. I mean, we've seen the fourth line do that too. That's on them as well. So all the way up and down the lineup, we needed one good shift, and we probably could have at least had a chance to claw our way back. But you don't even give yourself that chance. So very, very frustrated with the mentality of this team on this game.
And it also just sucks that we have to lose to Nichushkin. That's I love the other 3 players: Kiwi, Olofsson, even Tufty, who's not even playing right now, but Cogliano. But dude, I can't stand it when Nichushkin scores against us, just because it hacks me off so much. But I mean, there's really not much else to talk about with this game. I can't really think of anything else.
The only other thing that I kind of wanted to talk about was how Otter played in it, because like he again, it's not like he looks bad, but like every time that he was challenged tonight, he didn't show up. I mean, he had maybe like one save that he shouldn't have tonight all night long, and that's not normal Otter. And then the 5th goal he had, and it just leaks back behind him. I mean,
yeah,
that's not Otter.
And I think even Otter had the mentality shift that happened in the middle of the game too. I mean, he was fine in the first half. He wasn't challenged nearly as much, except for Makar a couple of times with some plays down the wing. But I mean, after that, exactly like you said, James, he got challenged and he didn't show up in his Vezina way. He wasn't the reason. He could have been the reason that we won this game with a couple of big saves, and he wasn't tonight. He definitely wasn't the reason we lost, but he didn't make those key saves, like you said.
Yeah, it just felt like he didn't show up for any of them.
Yeah.
I mean, so when you look at the stat sheet tonight, there's a lot of players that had some rough nights tonight. Dodonov, a -3. Heiskanen had a -3. Johnson had a -3. Robo was a -2. Suter a -2. Lundqvist -1. Pavelski -1. Hintz with a -1. And then the players that you kind of don't expect to be positive players were positive players tonight. I mean, actually, yeah, the only one that ended up positive tonight, you'll never guess if you haven't looked at the stat sheet. Just take a guess.
I looked at the stat sheet already, so.
Okay,
just gonna
James,
play.
take a guess.
I did too.
Oh, okay. We both ruined it.
We
Okay.
did our due diligence tonight.
Johnny Hockenpah. Really? It doesn't make any sense. That's weird. And so I want to be mad, but I'm just kind of like, whatever. Let's just forget about this game and move on.
Yeah, I'm kind of that way, but I think you need to learn from it from the momentum thing. I mean, momentum is important in hockey. We've seen that happen in tons of games. Just having a poor power play can give momentum to the killing team. If you get a minute-long 5-on-3 and you don't score, you're giving momentum to the other team, is what you're doing. You have to score on those, especially when it's a matter of putting the other team down, which it was the past 2 games, and you failed both times, and they came back both times. You got to learn something there. You got to get the timely power play goals. You have to. That's the one thing you need to learn. The play that happened in the second half of the game, that's not Dallas Stars. I agree. Throw that in the garbage. Doesn't matter.
I just don't think this is gonna happen again. It was a weird game. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, let's end with this question. Do biggest winner, biggest loser. K10SW. Is this lack of a full 60 minutes a player issue, coaching issue, or something that will work itself out deeper in the season? See, I don't even think it's an issue. I really don't. I don't think it's an issue. We haven't seen this very often. Yeah, I'm hacked off that it happened, but now the one thing I think I can say is they have not played a full 60 minutes yet. The way they played tonight, I don't think is indicative of how we've discussed the full 60 minutes in the past. This was just a weird one-off thing. What do y'all think what do you think the answer is to that question?
I think a large part of it does have to be coaching, honestly. And I know it's kind of a bogus thing to throw it on, but the starting the games poorly, which we had at the beginning of the season, you have to change something there as a coach. Either do a mandatory morning skate or mandatory show up at the rink earlier, whatever. You change something there. And I don't know if that was changed or not. I mean, I don't have the insights there, but I feel like coaching can make some changes there. In the middle of the games, I mean, I know we had the intermission between there to kind of smooth things over, but after the Rantanen go-ahead goal, I feel like that'd be a good time for a timeout. Or after the Nichushkin tying goal, maybe a good time for a timeout. You don't see a timeout called in this game, which is kind of interesting when they have 6 unanswered goals. I mean, I'd expect to have a timeout at some point in there, which would be a good tool to use. And if not, you at least, I don't know, you throw out the 4th line to get a good shift going. I know we said no line really had good shifts going, but I feel like you have some tools to help move the momentum in your favor. Timeout being one of them. The challenge on the goal was interesting. I don't like that. That definitely, they already had momentum going based off killing the 5-on-3. Then they get the goal, and then you give them a power play, which built momentum as well. So I think that kind of fed to the fire a little bit too. So I think there's things that DeBoer can do to help with momentum swings like that and with starts to the game.
Yeah, it was so weird going into second intermission because like I look at the score and now it's 3-2. I'm like, okay, so they're gonna wake up now, right? Because they just lost their 3-goal lead and they come out in the third and they look the exact same, like literally the exact same. Nothing changed.
And that's what I'm saying. That's a great time to call timeout. Nothing changes. They get the tying goal. Okay, timeout. Find a way to get something changed. Yeah, I don't know.
The thing that was frustrating for me is you could obviously see there was a huge momentum shift in the game. After the Stars give up that 5th goal, you pull Otter. I'm sorry. The way that the game was going, that's probably something that I would have done right then and there. And I know it was only a 2-goal lead at that point, but you were up in the game 3-0, and now it's 5-3. You need something to get it going, something to switch. However, I'm not going to put this on Pete DeBoer. I think this is totally between the ears. This is the players. This is the players' fault tonight, in my opinion. This
I
is
think
not
everybody
DeBoer.
could have done something different to win this game, and nobody did anything. Was the problem? So you lost.
I mean, even like you don't even have to have like an offensively good shift. I mean, just hitting people tonight would have done it. It's a fast team. You hit them, you slow them down, catch back up. But like nothing happened.
Nobody did anything tonight. So I'll put it on everybody. Biggest loser tonight, the Dallas Stars.
Over here, Ardell's asking how many shots did 21 have? Robo only had 2 shots tonight. That was it. So he's also asking about the fact that this top line for the Dallas Stars has not been very visible lately, other than maybe on the power play, which there's some truth to that. There's lately, especially, it's mostly been the Duchesne line kind of stepping up for the Stars offense lately, and he's asking where they're at. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean they 5-on-5 they look mostly invisible now.
Yeah, I think that is true. It's also a little bit easier for them to hide because their points are more spread out this year too. So you don't have those ridiculous numbers from Robo, but they are producing less than they were last year. That's for sure.
All right, Chris. So you already gave your, excuse me, Azayon. You already gave your biggest loser to the whole Dallas Stars. James, who's your biggest loser?
I'm giving mine to Otter just because, like, the past couple of games, he's not looked like himself. He's not costing us games, really, but he's not winning any of them for us.
I'm gonna give mine to what? Just kind of a mixture of 3 guys, just because they were on the ice for the goals scored against Johnston, Heiskanen, and Dodonov. Just
-3 is pretty rough.
That's bad. That's really bad. And the other thing is that they did not help out with any kind of offensive acumen at all tonight.
Which is weird for Johnston, who's been so good recently. I think he did have one good shot. He had one good rush chance in the second, but yeah, not as good as he usually is.
Biggest winner?
My biggest winner, well, Tyler Seguin's a good one. I'll take his apple picker, Mason Marchment. 2 assists on the night, 2 really good passes. I mean, the second one, fantastic little saucer that Seguin bats down and puts in.
And no penalty minutes either for Mason.
No penalties. Always a plus.
But he did serve one.
He did serve one.
Always has to end up in the box.
I know, right? Yeah, even if when it's not his fault. Yeah. So, but for me, my biggest winner, I'll give it to Tyler Seguin as well, because he looked. I was really, really, really surprised with how he played in the first period. And I really liked how he played. I mean, 2 goals. That's excellent.
He may not have the wheels, but he still got the same mitts. That's for sure.
Yep, that's true. And it really sucks that we don't really get to talk about that very much, because that seems like a distant memory, the first period, and then everything else happened afterwards. So it's kind of pointless.
Yep.
Right. So it really sucks. But Stars will be back at it on Monday night. And this game and the next 2 games, really tough 3-game stretch for the Dallas Stars, going up against the other best team in the Central in Colorado, following them tonight. They got the Rangers on Monday, and then they got Vegas coming in on Wednesday night. So we'll see how it goes for the Dallas Stars over the next 2 games. And then they got one more home game on Friday before they go back out on the road. So we'll see how they do, and hopefully we get a bounce back from them against the New York Rangers. Anything else tonight, guys? No? That's it? Okay.
Sorry, it's kind of a podcast.
Yeah, it's kind of like a bleh kind of thing tonight. So we'll just chalk this up as a fluke. I'm chalking it up as a fluke. So anyways, guys, thank y'all for listening. For those of you that are listening afterwards, we appreciate you as well. Go and use that promo code THB, and the next time you go use Raycon and DraftKings Sportsbook. I tried to mix them there a second ago. If you like this episode and this podcast, please consider leaving a 5-star review anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Go check out sarcasticremarks.com, and then also go and sign up for a brand new Discord server, the Sarcastic Remarks Discord server. So we would love to talk to you guys there during the game. That's kind of where we hang out and where other members of the Sarcastic Remarks community kind of meet. Along with Chris and along with James, my name is Ryan. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. Hope you guys have a good, fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you guys are listening. We'll see you guys again on Monday night.